looking over to our LL Reign here, playing in a preseason match, which, again, as I mentioned, was not streamed. Just a little round robin sort of tournament here in Portland against a few teams just for preseason purposes. On the 5th, the Reign traveled down to Portland to play the Thorns, drawing that game 0-0. Again, preseason tournament just to kind of see what you've got effectively related to the NFL's preseason games, to see what kind of depth you've got, who's going to step up, who's going to make a name for themselves. No scoring there, obviously, but there were some key performances. Ali Watt, who was coming off of a devastating knee injury last year, was able to play a few games at the end of the year, had a great showing. Starting goalkeeper, it looks like Fallon Tillis-Joyce had a relatively quiet day in terms of shots on her, but had some good saves near the end of the game to keep that at a 0-0 tie. Outside of that, those were the two key performers, and I think it's important to look at Tillis-Joyce simply because it kind of seemed like, at least in my eyes, there was no established goalkeeper. I know Tillis-Joyce got some minutes at the end of last season, but really had not played with the club outside of that. And then your other two goalkeepers are from the draft coming out of college. So you're kind of like, hey, do we have a surefire thing in net? Not necessarily, but obviously, well, there was a press conference that was held on the 4th with OL Reign head coach Laura Harvey and forward Bethany Balser, and Harvey said we're intentional about the goalkeepers that we have on the roster. That's very interesting that she would say that, and maybe she's got a bigger plan for that. Maybe she knows what she's got in Fallon Tillis-Joyce, so we will see about that, but it sounds like she played well in that first game of the preseason there, so we'll see how that plays out. In team-related news, on the 3rd, the league announced 2022 NWSL Challenge Cup broadcast schedule. 3 matches of the Challenge Cup will be broadcast on the CBS television network, including the championship match in the Challenge Cup. We already knew about the schedule for the Challenge Cup. This is just the broadcast schedule. So for those of you wondering where these games will be played on, where to find them when they take place, if you're not going to be at the game physically, you can tune in here as I list these off. The March 18th game versus Portland is a 7 o'clock game on Paramount Plus, which is $5 a month. March 26th versus Angel City FC, a 1 o'clock game, also on Paramount Plus. The games on April 2nd and April 14th are all on Paramount Plus as well. April 17th versus Angel City is on the CBS Sports Network. And then the final game of the Challenge Cup that is scheduled, not including those playoff rounds, is also on Paramount Plus, April 23rd versus the San Diego Wave. And then the last piece of team news that we have for the Reign here, the team announced the permanent transfer of goalkeeper Cosette Morche to Grand Parisien Ouest 92 Issy in the French Division 1 Arkema. It's a lot of words right there. In terms, if we're going to loop this back, I had thought, with the goalkeeper situation that Morche, when her loan was finished in June, July, she would have taken over the number 1 spot. That would obviously not be the case now with that permanent transfer to the club that she's currently on loan with in France. So best of luck to Cosette over in the French Division 1. So looking ahead for the Reign in their preseason tournament down in Portland, they will play a few more matches. March 8th versus the Chicago Red Stars at 5 o'clock, and then March 11th versus the U.S. Women's National Team under 23 players. Those are all called